Welcome. Yay, did everyone hear that? Recording in progress. Welcome, everybody, to our weekly training. And we're here tonight to speak about our pets, our beautiful, beloved pets. And both from I guess, as a practitioner perspective, but also just as an individual, because our beautiful pets need us on all levels. So I'm a kinesiologist and I work with people's animals as much as I work with them. That was a good reminder. I'll just turn my phone off. So I've worked over the years with horses and dogs, and I don't think I've worked with any cats. I have worked with chickens. I've worked with kangaroos. I've worked with all sorts of, sheep. And so they're just like us, right? And so they're very, very easy through the AO scan as well to tune in and find out what's going on. And we have some amazing guests tonight who are going to share how they actually work with it in their work. And I'm hoping also to link in with someone who's a very new, just started with AO scan, and she has been busy working with her pets as well. And then we have a few little testimonials. I'd really encourage you, if you have any questions, to pop them in the chat. So I'm more than happy to answer as we go along. And Katie's here. She'll help me keep an eye on the chat as well, but I've got it up beside me as well, so I should be able to see. So I wanted to introduce to you, first of all, Meredith Hutton. Meredith, thank you so much. So I was at the Mind Body Spirit Expo recently, and Meredith is a staple at the Mind Body Spirit. I love it. I always go in and I find her stall. Meredith, can you tell us what your business name is and a little bit about it, please?
Yes, hi everyone. So obviously I'm Meredith. My business is called the Aussie Cat Lady, and I work exclusively with cats. I do get requests for dogs, parrots, fish, and even snakes. But my passion is cats. So in my business, I have a range of vibrational therapies, so red light therapy, PEMF mats, also do colour therapy. But my real passion is around flower essences and, of course, what I call biofield scans or cat chakra scans.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. That is so cool. How long have you been utilizing the AO scan technology?
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier, and probably coming up to about 2 years. And I did a little bit of analysis at the end of last year, and now I've run around just over 300 scans on cats.
Wow, that's
So
incredible.
it is a core part of what I do and how I help cats and their guardians understand
Yes.
what's going on with
Awesome, awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, what is your process? Do you do it on all of the cats that come to you, or, do they specifically, the owners specifically ask, not the cats, obviously, for the
them.
for that part of your business? Like, so, what would your process be in determining, what you offer someone?
Yeah, so I work with three main groups. I work with people involved with cat rescue.
Hmm.
So cats come into their care. They may not know their background. They're seeing emotions and behaviours, and they just want a little bit of help to understand what they can do ultimately to, help this cat or kitten find a new home forever. I also work with breeders. So I've had a couple of experiences where I've been approached by breeders to kind of work out what's happening, but also I work with one breeder when her queens are birthing and post-birth, just to run the scans, but also to have like the SEPI playlists,
Mm.
just to give a little bit of, peace of mind and comfort, especially where there might have been some sort of birth trauma in the past. Or even on occasion where a breeder's had one of their cats or kittens returned, and they've
Yeah.
come back with certain behaviours and sensitivities.
Mm.
So I then also work with, obviously, cat parents who, they've been to the vet, their cat's got behaviours, they've ruled out anything medical, and they just really want some help. So I use the scan really to inform my practice. I use it in practical ways like running the scans, so the vitals. I've actually put my flower essences, my blends into the scanner. and I do use that from time to time to see which blends are commonly coming up.
How
So
would you do that? Because do you have it in easy, in the quick scan? And do you
yeah,
run
so
it?
I set it up as a supplement,
Yeah,
and then I do a custom scan under pet, and it
right.
will list the
Ooh,
supplements. So I categorize them. So I was just mentioning before, I'm doing some experimental work with cat archetypes.
yeah.
So I put in the archetype information or information, about the blend, and then run that custom scan, and it will list the top ones that are coming up.
Wow, that's so cool. And for the custom
It's really
scan, do you have
helpful.
to, do you
Obviously, I
need their,
run.
do you need their voice for that?
Oh, sorry, Paige.
Is it,
No,
see, I thought you
sorry.
did.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It might be my Wi-Fi. So I'm actually going to just change over. I'm really sorry, everyone. I should have checked this earlier. I might go, but you'll all still be here. So just give me 1 second and I should come back stronger. Just give me 1 second.
How are you going with the archetypes?
Sorry
Um,
about
Yeah,
this.
oh, there
really
you go.
interesting. Oh, she's back.
I am back. Is it better?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. I usually check that before I jump on, but anyway, I didn't tonight. I have a couple of networks in my house and it just jumps between them. Okay, so that's cool because usually with custom there's like a 10-second type thing, but you don't need to do that as long as the cat is the target. We might actually even jump in and have a little look at this because is there anyone here who doesn't even know how to run a pet scan at this stage or how to add your pets in and all of that type of thing? Because I will cover off on that as well because I know sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming, but it doesn't really have to be. It's actually very easy when you get into it. And I'm just looking for my share screen, which doesn't seem to be here. Okay. Ah, yes. No, I don't want to allow participants to do that. I just want to share my screen. Let me see. This is so weird. The share screen is not coming up for me. Okay. Sorry, everyone. Gotta love.
I had
Okay.
the same thing happen to me the other night. I didn't know how to share my screen. But
It's so weird. Well, usually it's just a button down the bottom. So usually
yeah,
I'm like all over it, but it's not letting me do that. It's saying host tools. Yeah, so the button's gone. Oh, there it is. It's hiding. Got it, got it, got it. Okay, let's go. All right, so here we go. Ooh, yeah. All right. So this is my profile. And to add a pet, it's really quite simple. You just come to pets and animals. And I've got a few in here. Sadly, a couple of them are deceased, so I should probably delete them out, but I haven't because I love them and I just keep them in there. All right, so this is my latest little one, little chili cheese whiskers, which Anthea actually she was her original mummy. So let's have a look at what we've done in here. So you would just put the name in, whether it's a dog, a cat, a horse, or other. So you can do other. Now you head down and just select what they are. So she's a Cavalier crossed with a toy poodle, and then her the sex, the gender, birth date, which you only need the month and the year. And look, today I was working with someone and she had a horse that she got, and she didn't know how old exactly the horse was. So we went with August because that's the horse's birthdays always, right? And her dentist had looked at the teeth of the horse and said that he thought it was, at the moment it would be 19 years old. So we took that and just said August 2006 or whatever it was. And so that's fine to do as well. Guesstimate it if you don't have an exact. Now this pet ID, I didn't, at the time that I added her in here, I didn't have a microchip number or a registration number or any of that because she was brand new. So I just used her actual birth date, which was the 6th of the 9th, 2024. Now that's fine to use. So any identifying, number or whatever is fine to use. Meredith, what do you use for the cats generally? Is it their registration number or something? How do you identify them?
I use a mixture. So if they've shared the microchip, I do that. But I actually find that the cat's nickname. So a lot of people give
Okay.
their kids nicknames,
Yeah,
works
true.
really well. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, cool. Well, this one would be Chili Bum if I did that. Yeah, cool. And so then you put a little photo in because they're just cute and you want to do that. And then you press save and then finished. Okay, and it's as simple as that. Now, it's the same for cats, horses, and if you're doing other, let's not mess with hers because she's in there. So let's go out. And if we, yeah, there we go. It heard me. Obviously, if you're saying other, you can literally just list the other species. So I've got a kangaroo in there, which was from next door, and she was very sad and kept looking at me, and her little eyes were saying, "Heal me!" And so I was like, "Okay," and I did. And she's now a mummy, and she comes and says hello to me sometimes still. So yeah, she was separated from her mob, and anyway, so yes, I just put her in there, just called her Kangaroo or Kangi or something, and I had no idea of all of this, but I just put her in there as that. I just guesstimated, and yeah, so don't be scared to do that. And I put a photo of her in there, so that was my way of, also the fact that your pets are underneath whoever the owner is. So you got to make sure that the owner is up the top here, because that's a crucial identifying factor in the whole, universe of the quantum world. All right, so if we're running a scan, now, Meredith, you can only do vitals for cats, right? And Cephi, that's what you would usually use, yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, we can do vitals and comprehensive for horses, but only vitals for dogs and cats. Now, we have been assured by Solex that their vet is now back on board and has been for quite a few months now. So I'm expecting any day for them to come out and tell us that the rest is done with that. But he had some personal issues that he had to have some time off. And it was nearly a year, I think, in the end that he took off. So it has been set back a little bit. And they did say to us it was a way, way bigger undertaking putting all the details in and getting that sorted. So it is coming. If you have those. They also said that when it will be released, they will have other furry animals like hamsters and hopefully things like guinea pigs and, other little animals in there. So maybe rabbits and things like that. All right, so if we're running a vital scan for an animal, you just do a drop down and you can select any of these. So you can see here that my kangaroo, because it's an other, it doesn't get to have a vital scan. So it's only dogs, dogs in here. I don't have any cats, dogs, cats, or horses as well. So I would select the dog that I still have with me, and you can just do it like a normal vital scan. So you can deselect any of these if you want to just know what's going on, and you just do your usual scan and optimize. But the difference with the report is this is where you find your balancing harmonics, right? So you can just click on those and it will play these 3 notes, and they only get 3. I don't know why. I've never looked into that, but they get the 3 notes. Now, the amount of people that have said to me when I've sent these to them as clients, that the dogs just absolutely love the tunes. And the cats the same, Meredith, do you find?
Absolutely. They'll actually come up to the device and they'll put their paws on it, they'll smooch it, or even lick it. So, yeah.
I love it so much. And sometimes they're a little unsure when it first starts, and when it changes, their head kind of goes, "Oh, what's happening here?" And then they're like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, this is okay." It's so beautiful to watch. I should actually film Chili with it one day. But yes, so they really, really love it. But of course, we don't have to wear a headset or anything like that. We just play it out loud for them. And then you go through and you have a look. Now, you don't have to be an expert on this. You can just see what stands out, or you can just run the frequencies for them and know that it's worked. Now, Meredith, you obviously, look at it from a practitioner perspective, and I know you told me that you actually had worked with a vet Is that right? Like a holistic vet? Yeah.
Yeah, so I've had a few conversations with vets because I'm always curious what their response is.
Yeah.
Not all vets are created equal. Some are, they're an evidence-based profession. They're not interested, but there are other vets out there who increasingly are becoming interested. So I had a client whose cat, Ruby, was in the sort of last stages of kidney disease. So I used to run scans for her every month and send like Cephii to her.
Yeah.
And she actually shared the results of the scans with her cat's veterinary acupuncturist, who then got very curious and had a look at the scan results and asked a few questions. So this is where I guess one of my tips is, let the pet parent lead if they want to take that further. I always encourage the people that I work with to share those results with others involved in their cat's care. But the outcome was that the veterinary acupuncturist actually did some investigations looking at the data from the scans and was able to diagnose a heart murmur, which they were then able to, treat appropriately as part of her end of life care. So that was an amazing outcome. Obviously, I was so excited, but for Ruby herself, the cat, to have that little bit extra time here with her mum was wonderful.
It's incredible, isn't it? Because we hear about people testimonials all the time where, like Beck's a classic for that, and her mum, oh my goodness, where it picks up things in the reports and it's just like, well, there you go. Like it's blatantly obvious. Yeah. So to be able to do that, send it to someone like a vet, well, the acupuncturist, veterinary acupuncturist, for them to look at that and actually see that, it's phenomenal. Very, very cool. And when we go down here as well, one of the big things I like is the chakras, because everybody loves chakras, right? And I love how it shows you what might be kind of out of balance there. So on this particular day, this was a while ago, Chili's ear chakra was out. And then it tells you down below what that's about as well, which is great. And what it might cause in the dog if it's not working properly. So I really love that they provide all of that. And again, we don't have to be an expert to still support our dogs. Like you can see how much was out of balance here and then how much then came back into balance. And then it's up to us to, take that next step if we want to and go to the vet or take the actions that we see in the reports. Or we just keep running frequencies for them and keep an eye on it. It doesn't have to be complicated. We run those tunes and see how it kind of shifts as well. And then of course we have, if we were working with a horse, we can run the comprehensive as well. I have worked with quite a few horses, but I'd have to pull up those person's details and get that up with those horses. I've got one I can probably share. Anyway, I'm going to talk to Chantel a little bit later, and she works with the horses, so we'll talk to that as well. And then of course we've got the Cephii. So if we're working with the Cephii, we can see here we've got the target. So you probably wouldn't notice this usually if you were just running it for yourself because you become the target, but then you got all of your other things in here. So this is not just your animals, but this is all your spaces and objects. And you can see I've got lots in there. So yeah, this is where, for me, I went in and ran my kangaroo one. So if it's an animal that you can't run vitals or comprehensive on, you can just put your kangaroo in. So I had another one that was unfortunately hit, and we were waiting for someone to come and take it. And so I just ran it like peace, calm and tranquility and some other things because there was nothing we could do, and getting close to it would have actually distressed it. So I just took a little picture and did that as well. So you can do that to be supporting the wildlife, as well as your loved ones. And then we can look at custom playlists. So can you take us through, Meredith, what you would do in here? Do you ever use the flowers that are actually in here as well?
Yes, I do, and I use that a lot, particularly when I get requests for custom blends. So
Yeah.
I'll run 3 sets of vitals over 3 days.
Mhm.
I'll do a little bit of analysis about some patterns, but
Mm.
each day I'll also run the flowers, and
Yeah.
I'll look at, how they're kind of matching with any patterns I see in the other reports. But I do do that because sometimes it's actually extremely insightful. And if I'm thinking about a blend, this is a great way for me just to kind of test that. So yeah, I use that a lot.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, sorry, there's a bit of an echo there. I know for myself, I use the scan function, but I've also in the past for doggy clients that I've had will literally just go off what the clients come to me for. So if the dog's anxious, I run anxiety and I put on, different things like I would look for anxiety in here or, all of these things. And then you can scan from that as well, right? So if there's fear, then you can scan under that fear. Does it do that? No, actually. But you can look up what it is no, it's gone to emotional exhaustion. Sorry, Chili. She's a bit emotionally exhausted. That's because I took her to the skate park yesterday to a massive competition and there were people everywhere and it was hot as Hades. Anyway, so she's a bit, yes, I can imagine she's a bit emotionally exhausted. I need to put some in her water. Yeah, so if I look through my custom playlists, I know I've got a few puppy dog ones in there. I think I've got Ellie the dog. Let me see. That's one of my doggies that I've worked. Yep, there we go, Ellie the dog. And so you can see here, you can just literally go through like a human one and choose the things. So this little one was having convulsions. Heart chakra, throat chakra, because of what was going on for her. She'd had maybe some x-ray, so we were looking at radiation detox. I can't even remember, this was quite a while ago. And that's how I tend to work as well, Meredith. So I'll do the session and run the frequencies. Sometimes I do kinesiology if they want that as well, and I'll combine it with the frequencies. But sometimes they just message me and say, can you just run the frequencies? And then I run a week's worth of Cephi, where I'll just run it overnight or I'll run it during the day, depending on what they muscle test up for. I know I've had one dog with severe anxiety, and she was very timid and like kind of hiding and stuff under the van, like they were in a caravan. And so, yeah, it was amazing. So she just listened to the tunes and we just ran the frequencies, and I looked at her report as well just to see if there was anything out of balance that I could see from a chakra perspective. It's a bit frustrating that we should actually ask for that we should have the tail and the paw and the ear and everything in there. I'd never thought about that, but we should ask them to put that in. Let's write to Solex now and ask for that. You know how they always ask for suggestions? I have to go back and do that. Yeah, because sometimes that's what it is for the dogs, right? Or the animals. So, yes, cool. And yeah, what else? It's kind of straightforward, isn't it?
It is, and I mean, just to give you an idea, I do like a full moon parasite cleanse, which I run for my own cats and for clients.
Yep.
One around keeping calm during the cyclone.
Yes.
I do one, have a playlist around anxiousness. There's so many things that you can create with the custom playlists.
Absolutely. The fireworks and anxiousness as well. So if you know you're going out, you can put that on. I know for me, I went away recently and I hadn't been away since I got Chili. And so I was worried about her feeling anxious. So I ran her frequencies overnight as well to keep her calm. And I did, yeah, she was okay. Oh, hang on me. Yes. Okay. I'm just checking the chat. Yes. Bronnie said we've had puppies fall asleep after an operation. They just relax. Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. Like they just love the frequencies. They can't get enough of it. Awesome. The other thing that I have used quite consistently as well, and I don't know whether you've played with this at all, Meredith, is the wand. So the terahertz frequencies.
Yeah, so I find that cats
Too much.
are a little bit sensitive to the noise.
Yeah. So the red
and
light you use though.
I do, yeah. And
Yeah.
I also use earthing mats. So if Solex could create one of those, like a smaller one,
Yes, that's a
Yeah.
great idea. And you've got the PEMF as well, but do you have the Solex one or just another one? Yeah.
No, I bought another one just because it was more portable to
Yeah.
allow me to take it with me into clients' homes.
Yeah.
I should mention I do cat visiting as well. So I take my armory of my Cephies and the mats with me for really, really anxious cats, and they work beautifully. But look, I love the wand, but I personally, my experience is it's just a little bit too much for cats.
Too much. Yeah. Look,
Yeah.
I had to get, well, actually, because Anthea was Chili's mummy first, she had gotten Chili used to the wand. So she came to me fully frequencied up, which is one of the reasons I wanted her. And she loves it still. Like I'll be wanding myself because I don't do it that often anymore. And she'll come up and like put her face in it and stuff. And I'm like, Kitty, this is my session. But also, I had the pleasure of having one of the PEMF mats over the weekend. Tim very kindly lent her mat to us for a frequency immersion afternoon I was having, and I snuck a sneaky session in for me, and I had something down on it, but Chili come and laid up on it with me because she has a broken leg, and the vet had actually said to me he had a PEMF mat at his practice. And I said, oh, are you telling me I need to buy a PEMF mat? Like, because that's actually something I can do. And he was like, well, I'm not telling you, I'm off the record. I'm not telling you anything. And I'm like, yeah, but she loved it. She would not move. She sat on me and like next to me the whole time. And I really did notice a bit of an improvement in her limp actually afterwards. So that is something that I'm going to have to get just for Chili, of course, nothing for nothing else. So yeah, I won. Yeah, that's cool. And the animal, like the cats love the PEMF mat as well that you've
They
got.
do, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And, just throw one of those kind of, gym towels over it because obviously
Yes.
some cats like to scratch, but also shed the hair, and it's just a really easy way to make sure that the mat's retained. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did as well. I had a full blanket on ours because yeah, I didn't want to dirty anything with that. And it's such a beautiful piece of yes. But you're right, it is heavy. So to be moving it around all the time isn't necessarily an ideal thing with that. Thank you so much, Meredith. Have you got anything else you'd like to add with, what you do, or have you got any other testimonials that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so I've just got a couple. Sorry, just conscious of time. My experience generally with like sort of cat parents or cat guardians is they absolutely love the chakra scan. They love the harmonics.
Yeah.
They do find some of the detail in the vitals, the bodily functions and things like that can be a little bit overwhelming. So with cat parents, I tend to run a series of scans, but just send them the harmonics, depending on, the feel that I have.
And you can do that, can you?
Yes, yeah,
That's
yeah,
very cool.
yeah. Or just do like a mini scan with the chakras in it. It just depends, what you're trying to kind of achieve. I find breeders generally are far more educated in parts of the vital scan, and they do find the detail in the scan of help, and it doesn't overwhelm them.
Yeah.
But one of my tips, which I'm sure it's the same for dogs and horses, is increasingly when you work with the pet, you need to work with the pet parent.
Yes.
So part of the, I guess, mastery in your business is around sometimes it's quite difficult to have those conversations because obviously pets are our mirrors, and cats, I can, say are very, very sensitive.
Yeah.
And one of the testimonials that I had is I worked with a breeder whose kitten went to a beautiful family, and a couple of weeks later the family rang and said, I'm sorry, we have to return her. My cat is my son is highly, highly allergic. So this poor little kitten came back, but had all of these different issues. All the scan, like I've never seen so much red come up in the scan. So over a couple of weeks running the scans, playing the harmonics, and the breeder was looking at her diet and her nutrition. it just kept fluctuating so much. And it was actually that this kitten had absorbed the sensitivities from the young boy. And this poor boy was allergic to everything under the sun. So it's absolutely powerful, even like just using the harmonics just to help bring that, you know, the system was fluctuating so much, just to bring it back into balance. And then all of the, like it went from this, you know, horrendous red traffic light type scenario to this beautiful calm. All the chakras were balanced. So yeah, like you can use it in so many ways, and it's very
And I reckon
powerful.
with that too, energetic clearing and shielding would have been amazing
Yes.
too.
Yes, yeah,
know,
definitely.
Yeah, because you hear so often where, you know, an owner will get sick and then the cat or the dog will take on that particular disease as well, you know. So it's such a, we're so connected with our animals. It's a little bit scary, really, sometimes. And it's the same with kids, you know, like I know I work with a lot of parents and kids, and it's just, yeah, they're the mirror. And so I often will say, especially if it's a small child, let's work with you first, mum, because
Yes.
you know you're the one that's connected, or dad if dad's the more connected. But yeah, so I totally agree with that. Yeah, it's amazing. And yeah, I liked that point too on the foods as well, because sometimes the animal, you know, you want to check what foods they're getting, and it does have a lot of human foods on there, but I guess, you know, we often feed our little ones human food. I try not to with mine. My kids are forever wanting to give her stuff. I'm like, no, she's a dog. She doesn't need it.
I've
But
actually heard of other practitioners who scan different pet foods into
yeah,
the scan
great
and
idea.
then run that to see if
Which ones?
there's, yeah.
Ah, I love that idea. That's perfect. Yeah, I love that. Um, I wonder if you could do that with flea and tick treatments and things like that as well. See which
I
one's the
think
best one.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Fabulous. Thank you so much. That's amazing, Meredith. I really, really appreciate your time. Does anyone have any questions for Meredith while she's still on? She has been on another call, so she might want to jump on.
Yes, I have a question. Sorry, I don't have enough reception to have the video on.
Okay.
I'm interested because I understand that as a pet owner, I have my animals underneath my name. But if you're doing it as a practitioner with animals, Meredith, are you putting them all under the individual owners' names each time? Because then I think, well, are they okay, or do you not actually need their height and their weight and those other things that go on an individual person's profile? Do you
Yeah.
leave that stuff out, or do you just put them all under your name, which I think would be easier, but then obviously you don't have the interaction of who they are connected to is part of the
Well,
the
yeah,
energetic profile.
that's a great question. And my answer is I use both. And
Right.
it very much depends on, so for example, with rescue, they may not have a relationship with the cat that's come into their care. They've just
Sure.
arrived into a foster carer's home. So in that instance, it's probably not adding any benefit to have it under the carer's profile at that point in time. But I think the real issue is I also want to create a relationship with the pet parent, like the cat parent. But my general experience is that it's very easy for pet parents to focus on their pet, and you lead them down a conversation around, oh, you know, does any of this sort of, you know, resonate with you, or have you had those feelings yourself, or what do you think about, you know, the results? So I think it's just about, and I know others have a different approach to this, but personally I find it's about understanding who the client is and their cat or kitten, and then which way is the best way to go. I like to create a relationship, as I'm sure we all do, with the people that we scan, but sometimes it's just a place that you can't go by putting it under their profile because they don't think that they need it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that entirely. So I am a vet. I'm 39 years and I'm definitely not an evidence-based vet. I'm so far off the planet that I'm barely able to be registered these days. But I haven't done any of the PET scans, and I was a bit concerned about actually then working less intuitively, if you're relying on even a scan like this one, as opposed to, like, I don't do any blood tests or any x-rays or anything like that. I haven't done for years and years. So I've also found that animals often bring their people to me for something the people need the help with. So you are sort of covering that to some extent anyway. But I really do find that a lot of it then is connected back to the client, whether they are ready to see it or not. But then you bring that up to them and you can see that it lands with them and there's an aha moment. So I do feel to honour what the relationship is with the client is very important to the animal and their message that they want to share. So I'm just interested in whether you would, I'm assuming, see the same with the cats, because I work mainly with dogs, cats and horses, but yeah, in a different way than regular vets.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think personally cats, okay, I'm going to go on a limb here. I think cats are more sensitive than dogs. Don't hate me for that. But my experience is definitely that, this sort of mirror work is absolutely vital so that you're treating the environment as well as the cat or the person as well. I just wish there were more vets like you, Judith, that, at least consider and open that door that this has value, because it certainly does. And I have seen some of the American colleagues who do a lot of comparison with blood tests and scan results. So there is a community in America that use the scan. There's a few experts there. So it would be good perhaps for you to also connect with them.
And I was just going to say, Judith, wouldn't you maybe, because you're concerned about it taking away from your intuitive, what you're getting intuitively. But what I would say to that is get what you get intuitively and then run the scan and see if it matches up and see if it fills in any blanks or, gives you a greater depth, because that's how I tend to work, as well with my people clients as well as animals. So, it certainly doesn't detract. In fact, I think it adds to, being able to go deeper and in different directions and things with my intuition personally. But yeah. Chantel's just asked, is anyone able to join that group? And do you have the name of that group, Meredith? Because I know I have seen one on Facebook for pets with the AO scan.
Yeah, so it's the is it the Artemis? I'll get the details and I'll share it.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, so a lot
Just
of
pop it in
people,
maybe the Frequency Soul Collective chat.
yeah. So
Awesome.
there's a few of us in Australia that are members. It's free. There's no issue with that. But it's really good because a lot of people share their like custom playlists, or they'll just ask about, I'm feeling this is what the scan's telling me. Sorry, I did just want to mention one thing, which I did use this group for. I was asked by a client to do a scan for their cat who had been missing. And they wanted to know whether she was still alive. She'd been abandoned for like over 10 years and kept returning to the house with her family. It was dreadful. But then she disappeared. And to be honest, I was a bit like, I'm not sure how comfortable I feel with doing that. But others in the group were able to provide, sort of a balanced view. But ultimately, I do think it's your own choice as the practitioner. But it's things like that that maybe, you can just pop into the group and get a range of perspectives. That's very helpful.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Meredith. I really, really appreciate it. I know we've gotten a lot out of that. That's really cool. So Meredith is in our Frequency Soul Collective group. So if you, if you have any cats who need some help, and if you're ever at the Mind Body Spirit, pop in and find her because she's always there and doing a roaring trade there, which is really, really cool. Thanks, Meredith. Really appreciate you. So Chantel, I would love to have a little chat with you too, please. Chantel is working with horses. Can you tell us a little bit about your business and when you came to AO Scan and yeah, how you've been utilizing that?
Yeah, so I've actually been in equine therapy for quite a while now, and that look, I really came in more from the psychology level, but working mostly with kids that have been through trauma, kids with learning disabilities, or people that had been through some fairly traumatic experiences that, you know, generally I found, and I certainly didn't advertise it this way, but I found that people came to me after they'd tried everything and there was just a block in the way that they couldn't clear. And I found that working with animals is just the best thing to clear that. So I probably came to AO Scan maybe 2 years ago, and I would like to say I'm a healthy skeptic. I think that I believe I've always been really linked into intuition. So I absolutely believe in that side of the world, and I live by that, by intuition. However, in the being in mainstream therapy is, you know, you see really both sides of that coin. So to be able to integrate it is really, really cool. How did I end up getting into it? I loved what you were doing, the scans that you were doing for me, Paige, and that it really opened my eyes to another way of being, and just on that quantum level as well. Like I think I've always had a real interest in that. I think it was probably when I was about 19 that What the Bleep movie came out.
Yeah, I remember that movie, yes.
And everything just resonated and made sense. So to find something that is like this, and then you can mix it with more mainstream stuff as well, it's really cool. So I had a chronic fatigue, absolutely debilitating for about 5 years. And I signed up to this to kind of get an idea of what was going on there. And it solved one of the biggest issues, which is my vagus nerve was physically being pinched. And it came up on the scan. Oh, I don't even know if we've spoken about this.
No.
And I'd moved to Yamundi at that point and went and saw someone. And I had like 9 years of really intense anxiety just switch off.
Wow.
And if it weren't for the scan picking that up, I wouldn't have known that is even a physical issue that could really occur.
Wow.
So, and it's
that just kept showing up in your comprehensive, the vagus nerve. Yeah,
just constantly.
Yeah.
You know, when it says like chiropractic adjustment needed,
yeah.
It was most of the sections kept saying that. So I was like, oh, look, I don't like going to chiropractors. I haven't had a lot of success with them, but I found one in Yamundi that's just the most amazing alternative guy that is so into stuff like this. So really cool. And then I think as we've spoken about, I got into just learning about, I love kinesiology. I've never really had the time in life to really focus on it, but at least I learned how to muscle test. So I've mixed muscle testing with using the scans, which I found really powerful.
Yeah, it is.
And then about a year ago, I started doing it with people outside my own horses and my own animals. And just to get a feel for more like distance stuff. And I really wanted to see people outside of my own, I suppose, biased opinion at that point. I don't know, you just want to get a real world feel for it. So I had amazing results as well. So I can't put it down.
Do they usually listen to the tunes, like the horses as well? Do they love the tunes too?
Yeah, absolutely. And I found it really interesting. Even so, this afternoon, I'm dealing with one of my horses at the moment has like a dermatitis on his feet, and it's really tricky to clear up. But I was playing his scans this afternoon, and I noticed that with different notes, with 2 of the notes, it absolutely puts him to sleep. One, he perks up and he just kept trying to nip me. Not nasty. He's a very mouthy kind of horse, very playful. Yeah. But as soon as the next note came on, he'd just go back into this really meditative state. So
that's beautiful. I was actually talking today too. I don't know whether you have the AO tune. Oh, I've got a little munchkin in the background here. I didn't know whether you had the AO tune as well, because I was talking to one of my girls, and I don't think she's on, unfortunately, because I was going to get her to jump on tonight. But Yeah, and we were talking about using the AO tune. So that's part of the Cephi program, right?
Mm,
And you can actually put them on like tuning forks. So I wondered whether
that's
you'd had
cool.
any. Yeah.
I'm not using that at the moment,
Okay.
no.
All right. Yeah. Because I
I'm
was
so
talking to her and
interested
I
to
was,
learn more.
well, yeah, because I said to her, because you could literally put it, if because they're only little, they're like little transducers, and you could literally pop them, if you with a horse, you could put a blanket over the top to sort of hold them in place, or the
Yeah.
kind of thing. And yeah, and I'm like, you could totally do that on the chakras, and yeah. So and she was like, oh, because she had them, so I was like, go home and play with them and let me know what happens. Because yeah, there's all of the frequencies in there as well in the Cephi area. I'll just show you quickly. Oh, my share button's back now. Of course it is, because yeah, so we talked about that, and I know that one of our girls shared a testimonial about having a pain in the back of her shoulder blade for 15 years, and had seen a physio who had actually said to her in the end, I can't help you anymore, so stop coming. And she had the AO tune, she won them on one of the weekly calls. And she said she went in and found in under the organs area this muscle cells, right? I don't know whether she muscle tested it or what, but she got to this one, put it on that spot, and literally 5 minutes, and she might have done it 2 or 3 times, and the pain went. So, and this is a 15-year pain. So she knows, she said, I know I've had it for 15 years because it was when I had my daughter, and her daughter's 15. So it's incredibly powerful. Yeah, I just love her because she has some great testimonials. But yeah, so I just wondered about that. So that might be something you can play with too, Chantel, from a Cephi perspective. Do you use Cephi much?
Yes.
Yeah, you
Yeah, a
do.
lot. Yeah, and I like custom playlists all the
Yes, yeah.
time.
And I
Yeah.
was wondering about your dermatitis one. Have you thought about, because I know some other people, there's a lovely lady, Ronnie Spresso, actually over in, I was nearly going to try and do an interview with her. She works with horses too, over in the US. I met her when I was over there. And she uses Cephi dots. And I think she's been on one of the weekly calls as well, where she puts the Cephi dots on the hooves. It's a little
Oh,
bit
cool.
hard to keep them on there.
Yes.
And I tried that for a little one as well that I was working with when I was traveling, a little pony, and she kept losing them every day. But it did clear up. She had some eye issues, and it cleared up her eye issues. So yeah, I just wondered, yeah, whether you played with that as well.
Yeah, and look, his hooves at the moment, they're actually I'm treating him with pine tar at the moment. I've had everything from the vet as well. It's been like 4 months of it. So
Yes.
I'm almost at a loss, not as a loss, but I'm not sure how to kind of
Yeah.
heal this one, but I
Have
can't
you
see
been
anything
running the
specific.
frequencies for him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've only tried I have tried a couple of different ones.
Maybe
Yeah,
going in
I'm
and
not-
having a look at, because you don't need necessarily the transducers for this either, for the AO tune. So maybe you could
yeah,
go in and even scan him and find out what's coming up in that, and use
yeah,
just
I haven't used that
having,
on him.
yeah, even just
Cool.
having the you could use the transducer headphones and just pop them in a spot, like if your muscles
true.
wear, because that will still transduce it. Or you can literally just use your phone and hold it close to the spot that you think you need to do it on as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that could be something to
An
play with as
option.
well.
Yeah,
And
really
what
cool.
sort of have you seen anything crazy with horses and and the AO scan, like any testimonials you can share?
Yeah, look, like I suppose there's two really pivotal ones. One was I did it for a client about a year ago, and this is the first lady that I really did a proper a program and a follow-up with. And I did it using the muscle testing as well. But the big cyclone that came through, that was actually a tornado down Mount Tamborine near your way, actually last Christmas.
Yes, I know it.
Yeah, I'm sure you know it well. Yeah. And so a tornado went straight through her property at Maudsley and even like ripped her massive shed down. And her horse was just had not recovered mentally from it, was really traumatized, could not be ridden at all anymore, went from being a standard daily riding horse to don't come near me, just terrified. And she'd been trying to deal with it for about a month at that point, and it still had not come around. And just word of mouth, she got my number and we had a chat about it. And yeah, so I did a little bit of muscle testing and then sent her some tunes for him. And I sent her two lots of tunes, like over 3 weeks. And she played it to him every day, like morning and afternoon. And she sent me a video of these eagles that came down and sat almost right beside her. It was insane. Then she has no tame eagles around. And she's like, you would not believe this, sent the photo. So
It's incredible. So the
and
frequency this horse he was putting off was amazing.
amazing. And it also made a big difference. She went back to riding him within 3 weeks. So
Amazing.
yeah, that was massive. Yeah.
That's really cool. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's an awesome
And-
awesome share. You've got dogs as well. Do you use it on your puppy dogs as well?
I have one dog, my Wolfhound Cross, who's I've had for 9 years. Yes, I absolutely use it on him. I have them as part of my multi-scan as well.
Yes, me too.
Yes, yeah, he's like, the love of my life, little sweetheart. So but he gets it as well. And he's honestly he's 12, Wolfhound, and the vet has said he is just the healthiest. Well, it actually took him to like a specialist dog what do you call it, physiotherapist. And
Yeah.
she's like, I can't believe he's 12. Like he can do everything. He still runs around. He's still quite active.
I love
Just-
that. Yeah.
I feel like he hasn't really aged. I just think that he gets a lot of support from the AO scan stuff as well. So
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
especially like emotionally, he was a rescue. That was one of those rescues that you get that is just really terrified if I even so much as even doesn't even like the noise of the washing up because it's too loud, but probably and it took a really long time to get him to calm down, but he still has those tendencies. But I just think running this, often I'll just run it in the background. I think it helps. So.
Yeah, amazing. No, that's so cool. I agree. I have Chili in our multicast that I do overnight. So I have a family group and then I have a client group. And so I just set her, and you can save the playlists. Does anyone need to see multicast, or is everyone across that?
I wouldn't mind having a look at it, please.
Yeah, sure. Okay, no
Thank
worries. So
And one question I had with regard to Chantel, because I had 4 dogs here today. They're all similar age, all male dogs. And I did my first PET scan on one dog in particular that's in my list. He's been with me for 5 years. But all 4 of the dogs are being affected by hay with hay itch in it. That's what I've actually identified it down to after looking at all these different allergies. So the 2 others that came to visit, I've noticed them starting to get some of the same symptoms. But I only did the playlist for Milo, the 6-year-old dog, who is the father of 2 of the other dogs. And they're all very close in age and they spend a lot of time together. But not one of those dogs came anywhere near to listen to any of the tunes that were being played today. So, I didn't worry about that, but I'm just curious when people are saying that, their dogs are tuning into it, listening to it, no response from any of them, not even anything. So the fact that I was doing a similar scan for them, even though it was under Milo's name, I just thought the fact that none of them seem to respond. I'm just curious about anyone's comments on that, because obviously it can be done remotely away from the.
Yeah, so you were playing the balancing harmonics in the vital scan, the actual
Yes,
music. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. I guess they're all different. I don't know. I wouldn't be concerned that they're not responding. If you've got it in the background and they can hear it, dogs' hearing is amazing. So they might have just had better things to do than come and sit by the tunes. I don't know. And
Yeah.
maybe you'd get a better response if they were on their own. I don't know. I find when there's, like.
Well, they were all asleep within about, they were all asleep before I even started this. That's why I just thought, well, no one sort of moved
Oh,
close
so
to.
they were asleep when you were playing the tune?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, then that-
Normally they would wake up if they hear strange things. That's why I'm curious
yeah.
about. Yeah, but they didn't.
Maybe
none of
that's your reaction. They stayed asleep.
That's right. Well, that was it. So, we're going to sleep. We might as well keep going. So, anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because the fact that I had 4 dogs, all of similar breed, similar age, all male dogs, all at my house today, and I was effectively offering the same scan to them.
Yeah. And maybe doing them individually. I would probably say, I don't know, Chantal, have you got anything to add?
Look, if I was to weigh in on this one, from all the equine therapy stuff that I've seen is whether it's good energy or heavy energy or whatnot, the horses always are there for what they need, and they leave when it's not necessary anymore. It's like my horses, I'll scan them when they're not tied up most of the time, because when they've taken what they need, they'll leave. And sometimes they do hang around, and sometimes they walk off. But Taz stayed for 3 rounds of the tunes today, and then he went out of that meditative state that he was in and just went, okay, I'm done. And I also see this response with in actual equine therapy sessions when they're working with a client and they're doing their own, they're tuning into sometimes they tune into a client and they do get this state where their ears are sideways, their eyes are half shut, they're not sleeping, they're in a zone. I just think energetically they're so switched on, they'll take what they need and then they'll leave. And I suspect that dogs would be the same.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I know when I used to do the reconnective work, I would literally just do it as I'm walking along the road and there'd be dogs and horses, and they'd do the same thing. They'd come right up close to me for a bit and then they'd turn their back and walk away and just stand there with their bums to me. I'm like, okay, you're done. See ya. Like, it was pretty funny.
Yep.
So I have to agree. Okay, so I don't know if you just saw, but up here is where I'm aware of the time. We are at time, but I'll just go through this. So we've got manage client groups. This is where you will set up your group for your multicast and multi-scan. So I mentioned that I have an immediate family one there. So to add a person to it, you just click on the plus and put their name in. Now I'll show you just quickly. So a search under there. Now to add your pets to this, you actually just do a drop down menu on the side there. So that little arrow, and that does your pets and then your spaces. So we've mentioned the cyclone a few times, so you can just select that. During the cyclone, I had the actual cyclone in there as a space and object, and I was sending peace, calm, and tranquility to Alfred. That is why he wasn't as crazy as we thought he would be, clearly. And I also have my property in there sending protective, frequencies as well. And you can see I've got Chili in there as well. Now, as we go out of here, so you can press save when you have people in there. To go to multicast, it sits in Cephi, and you can select multicast. Then you come up here to find your group that you've already saved. You have to set that up first. You can also just add an individual in as you're going as well. You don't have to do a group, but you can fit up to 16 people in there, so people or animals or spaces. Then you can select their playlists here. Now, you do not have to have the same playlist for everyone. So I've got 2 playlists linked for Chili in my multitude of playlists. So I've got her broken leg in there and I've got safe and secure. But you can put whatever you like. And then to run this, you find a flower and it will come up. The flower is really there to avoid any resistance emotionally. So you see that's feeling blocked has come up there. When you've done it for everyone, you will then come up to the top here and run it for 30 seconds. And I'll just show you on this one. And it will go through each of them for 30 seconds. So go away and do your dishes or whatever. I set this up at night and I run the people's frequencies overnight. So, and I put, if I'm running it for clients and family members. So that will go for 30 seconds. And when it's finished, it should be any moment. You can literally, it will come up like a play button here. And that's how I run frequencies overnight for people. Okay, and so that will run now until I stop it in the morning. My computer can go to sleep. I can keep that tab open. My computer can go to sleep. It's on silent, so nobody hears anything. I can turn my internet off overnight, and it will still be running in the morning. So the only thing I can't do is shut the actual lid, because then it won't work. But yeah, everything else will mean that it is running for that. And so that is how I run my lists. The other one that we just also can do, the only thing with multi-scan, it won't do your dogs or cats. It will do your horses though, because there is no comprehensive for dogs and cats. So, so if you come in here, you can see, and this is a beautiful way of getting the vitals and the comprehensive done for a group. So if you have a look at this, if I start that there, and you can see everyone but Chili, and the spaces and objects are not being scanned because you can't do that for them, okay? But what it's doing here is you'll see everyone's vitals is going along as it should, But when it switches to the comprehensive, it chooses the specific things that are out of balance for that person. So it will go at a different rate, and then everybody gets a different things will come up for the comprehensive. I'm not going to do that because we've all had scans today, so we don't need that. Yeah, but you can only do that for horses at this stage, but I'm sure it won't be far away that they will bring in the others as well. I just wanted to
A quick question. Can I just ask a quick question?
Sure.
So if I was doing it for spaces, could I do it like for an insect detox or something like that for the hay itch mite itself?
100%.
So if you could quickly just show me that, I'd be very grateful for the dogs and the horses.
So you would just come in and you would go to your target because you would set it up under spaces and objects.
Right.
Right, so whatever your space and object is, you just go in and set that up. So I've got woodlands. Let's say we're doing it on my house, wherever that might be. Anyway, you would choose it in here because that's where it would turn up. I can't even find woodlands in there. I've got way too many. I need to delete some out. But anyway, let's say Paychains can easily. There we go. It was there. Then you would literally come in and find that frequency, which would be under your homeoenergetics, and you would say insect detox, which is wherever it is. DFGHI. There we go. Insect detox, and you would just broadcast it. So you could do that individually, or you could do it through the multicast. If you were running multiple, you would just add that to your multicast list, your group, which I showed you how to do just before.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then you would, if you wanted to do more than just the insect detox, you could add in an actual insect detox playlist or a hay playlist or whatever, and you could add other things in there as well, which you'd want, and then you could add it into your multicast. So yeah, I was just going to show you super quickly if everyone's okay with that. If you're not, then you can go, it's fine. This is where it is. A little testimonial from Bronwyn. So she said, meet Billy, Miss Molly's beloved puppy. This adorable pup is a, I don't even know how to pronounce that, Catahoula cross border collie. Using Cephi, we were able to run the complete frequency set for Billy remotely after identifying some areas that are out of balance on her AO scan. Nothing serious, thank goodness. We were able to help Billy recover after finding ticks on her that she kept attracting with all the rain we've had this year. Oh, super cute. So yes, that was a beautiful one. And Bronwyn also had a situation where her beautiful puppy was bitten by a snake, by a brown snake, and she pulled through that. And that was with all of the tools, all of the things, but amazing with the AO scan. So yes, and if you ever need those lists, then Bronwyn's always happy to share in the main group. So thank you so much, Chantal. I didn't even say that yet. Thank you for being here. You too again, Meredith. I really appreciate all of your input. That's amazing. I hope everyone got a lot out of tonight. I certainly did. We will be going off and making up playlists and doing all the things. That Facebook group is called Artemis Quantum Ascension for you, Chantal. I hope you put that down, and I'll pop that into the Frequency Soul Collective chat as well. I'm just checking if there's any other questions. Multicast is great. Yeah. Oh, okay. So Bron was saying something was running for Chevy. Yeah, well, she was away. Yes, I was running all sorts of things when I was away from my. Yes, so we have rattlesnake anti-venom in homeopathics. Very yeah, that works as well. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Bronwyn said that she was able to pick up her puppy on the same day after she'd been admitted as unresponsive and paralysed, and she started working. So that would have all been via distance too, Bron, that you did that for Chevy when he got bitten by that snake. Yeah, amazing. All right, everyone, thanks again. I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week for, I don't even know what's on training next week. I haven't looked, but I'm sure it'll be amazing. All right, good night, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Paige.
Bye. Oh, I've got to